definitely not a workout shoe, but as I said, I've done some strides and some surges. It actually felt okay, but it's definitely a bit bulky for a workout shoe or a race day shoe. However, so I've been a big fan of the previous iterations of this shoe. This is the New Balance More V5, and these are my first impressions. But before we get into it, and a big shout out to my #1 running store, the Running Company at Geelong. I've got a link to their website in the description. Make sure you go check out that and check out all their running gear. And also guys, if you haven't done so already, make sure you hit that subscribe button. And with the specs, a neutral max cushion running shoe, if you haven't guessed by the look of it already. So chunky. So $260 here in Australia, $155 in the US. Now in the weight, so it's around that 300 grams marks, 10.7 ounces in your men's size 9. Now in the stack, I've got 43 in the rear, 39 in the front, and that's going to give us a 4mm drop. And in the upper side, the material that they're using is a engineered mesh, but the look and feel of all the materials in this shoe, it actually feels quite premium, so I really like it. Breathability is okay through this mesh, probably could be a little more breathable. With our heel counter, there's a little bit of play in it, so it doesn't have a solid cap or anything like that. But what you can see, what's interesting about this shoe is just the angle of how the heel cup is shaped. And they've got this really big Achilles pad that sort of angles right in and rests on top of the Achilles. Really plush amount of padding around the heel collar there and rolls into this really plush and padded tongue. Now the tongue is fully gusseted, and I do like the tongue here, and it's meshed all the way down, but it's a really thick mesh. I think they're trying to add some breathability to the shoe, but this, even though it's meshed down the bottom, it's still quite thick. Standard lacing system, lockdown, no issues whatsoever. As I said, your heel sits right back in this shoe, and then you're sort of hugged in at the top. Now in the fit, I'm going to say the length is true to size, and the width is probably normal. It's not as wide as a normal New Balance shoe, but I'm going to say normal. But what I will mention about the fit here is because it's got so much padding around this heel collar and the angle of this little Achilles pillow, it's got a tendency, I think, to push the foot forward as you run or even as you walk, and the shoe might feel a little bit short for some people. So just be wary about that in the fit. If you're experiencing that, you may try to use the lace lock just to lock your foot right back in the shoe. Stepping comfort is absolutely amazing, so you probably can't get any better here. Build quality, excellent as well. And in the outsole, so for me, this is a bit of a familiar tread pattern because it looks the same as what they're using in the New Balance Balos, except it's just different materials and a different feeling rubber. So the rubber in this shoe is certainly a lot firmer than what you're going to find in the Balos. I think it might be just that New Balance Endurance rubber. Someone can correct me if I'm wrong. So just the actual shape that they've got here, exact same as the Balos. So they've got it just in like 3 big segments. It looks like an upside down fork. And then in the high wear areas at the rear. And then they've got lots of exposed foam, so some channels up through the forefoot, exposed foams to the middle, and obviously a bit of a groove there in the heel. Now in the grip department, my runs in this shoe so far have been in the wet. That's probably why it looks so clean, and I've also had a run on the treadmill. But the wet run so far, absolutely really good. So surprised about how grippy it actually is. I did have a little bit of slippage on a boardwalk, but all shoes will do that. But on the concrete on the road, grip really good in the wet, and obviously it's going to be good in the dry. Not too sure about how it's going to hold up in the durability department. New Balance shoes and their rubber tend to wear down quite quickly in the outsole. And in the midsole, so they have got the biggest slab of Fresh Foam X I think that they may have ever released. So yeah, really chunky as you can see there. Really simple design though, it's just one big slab of this Fresh Foam X. Now it is a different Fresh Foam X than they used in the previous one. So it definitely feels a little bit firmer, and it feels a little bit gutsier. It feels a little bit springier to the touch as well. Now there is no plate or anything in this shoe. However, shoe is still pretty rigid, still pretty stiff. A little bit of flex, and I can say it's stiffer than last year's model, which I think it needed. Now in the geometry, I think we've got some tweaked geometry here as well. Nice 4-foot rocker that you can actually feel. So even though this shoe is so soft, And that when a shoe is so soft, it sort of takes away the rocket feeling of the shoe, but you can actually feel it in this shoe. So they've done a good job stiffening the shoe up so you can actually feel this geometry. And in the ride, so the first word that is coming to mind is plush. So this shoe has to be one of the most comfortable rides I think that I have ever tried. So I did say that the foam is slightly firmer than the previous model, and you can feel that in the ride. So it doesn't feel as soft and as squishy, and it doesn't feel as lethargic. So this one, yeah, it's got a little bit more bounce to it, a little bit firmer, and I think they've got the consistency just right here, because it's just on the borderline of being, it's just soft enough where you don't lose any efficiency out of the run. So I still think this shoe can be pretty efficient for being such a soft and maximal cushion shoe. So yeah, I think they've just nailed the softness of where this needs to be. Certainly better than the last version, but yeah, lots of bounce, lots of softness, and just lots of comfort. With all this softness, you'd expect it to be unstable, but it's not. It's got this really, really wide platform that just sort of keeps you nice and sure-footed. If you're one of those people that does need like a lot of arch support or needs a fair bit of support in your shoes, I'm not too sure if it's going to be suitable for you guys, but for most neutral runners and most people that probably need a little bit of support, I think this one is certainly stable enough for that. As I mentioned before, the rocker, you can actually feel it in this, and it just lets those legs tick along. Now, what surprised me about this shoe, so the runs that I've tested it, I actually had some surges, and I've also had some strides at the end of it. And this shoe actually, yeah, as I said, it surprised me with how good it actually felt. It definitely doesn't feel like a fast shoe, but it certainly didn't feel like a shoe that it didn't want to go far. So that had a good amount of bounce and a good amount of pop. So I didn't feel like it was holding me back at all. So yeah, not too bad here. And likes in this shoe so far is certainly how they have firmed up the foam. So just enough. So they fixed the problem that I had in the previous version, where I'd feel like as my foot rolled through the foot struck, it'd feel like it would go into a negative drop, because the foam was just way too soft at the back. The heel would drop lower than my forefoot, then I'd have to dig it out and roll onto the forefoot. This new foam has fixed that up. I also absolutely love the new geometry, and I think that the foam, the firmness of the foam actually complements that, so we can feel the geometry, so love that. And also, generally, I just love the look of the shoe. I know it's chunky, but I still think it looks great. And what I'm still figuring out is how durable is this new foam compound going to be. Let's hope it's going to be more durable than the previous model of this one. And let's hope it holds up as well, like on those longer runs. Let's hope it doesn't break down really quickly and get really saggy and mushy towards the end of the run. And I'm also a little unsure about the angle here of the heel cup and just how this Achilles pad sits on the back of the Achilles. Let's hope it doesn't cause too much irritation. And just wrapping up my initial thoughts, well, I'm very, very impressed. I do think this one is going to be the best more that's been released so far. So the V3 was my favourite, but I think I'm going to like this one better. I really appreciate and love what they've done to the foam. I love how they've just firmed it up enough while still maintaining that really soft ride. Super comfortable. But yeah, they've just pulled it out of that really soggy and sluggish stage. So now it's bang on. Let's just hope it holds up. The predictions are easy in this shoe. It's going to be great for recovery days, great for your easy miles, daily trainer, yes. Just hope this foam holds up and you can get some decent amount of Ks out of it. Is it a workout shoe? Definitely not a workout shoe, but as I said, I've done some strides and some surges. It actually felt okay, but it's definitely a bit bulky for a workout shoe or a race day shoe. However, if you're running your first marathon and you just want to finish your marathon, you want a nice and comfortable shoe to spend 4 or 5 hours on your feet, then this one would be okay for that as well. It's also going to be fine for people who just want to go walking around it, want a nice comfy shoe. Also people that are working, that are on their feet all day. Great option for that. But anyway, guys, that's it from me. Plenty more testing to do. I'm going to really rack the Ks up quickly in this shoe. It's come at the perfect time. Got a marathon in a couple of days, and this one's going to be great for the recovery after that. But anyway, guys, any questions, you know where to drop them in the comments. Thanks for watching. Make sure you give this video a like, subscribe to the channel, and we'll see you next time.